here with LiveFreeWithEFT.com. I'm here to give you a little introduction into Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT, so that you have a little background as we go through some basics on this or other videos. First of all, I wanted to start out talking about energy in general. Now, I'm not going to go into a big dissertation about physics and all of these kind of detailed or scientific aspects. But what I wanted to talk about was energy in general. You see, we've determined, or it has been determined for roughly 100 years now, if you go back with Albert Einstein and some of the work that he did, it's been determined that we're basically made up of energy when we get down to that subatomic level. Even the solid wood that you hear there as I pound on it seems solid, but when we go microscopically down to an atomic or even a quantum level, what we find is mostly empty space, actually, and everything ultimately is made up of energy. So let me move forward to how that applies to us as human beings. These bodies that we have are made up of energy. And as a matter of fact, we have several systems within our body. We have a skeletal system that helps lend support to us. We have a muscular system that allows us to move and also gives us strength. We have a pulmonary system that pumps the blood throughout our body. We also have an energy system that helps drive a lot of the things that we do and helps coordinate all of these things. In addition to that, the energy system serves as an attachment or a memory system as well. Now, there's a lot of theories that go out there, and that's why I encourage you with EFT to really work with EFT for a while, to determine how it fits best with you. Just like nutrition, we find out what works best for us. Not everyone has the same type of needs and wants. With EFT, we find that it works in the same manner. Everybody has a little bit different system and how it works for them. Everybody's so unique in many ways. So what you need to do with EFT is actually find out as you work with it, find out how it works for you. So as we get back to our discussion here about energy, we have this energy system that goes throughout us. And how I like to think about that is, I have this heart that keeps beating. Yet if I turn around in the mirror, I don't find a battery back there like the Energizer Bunny, and it doesn't help me keep beating on and on and on and on. There's something that keeps and allows our heart to beat and everything else to move within us, all of these systems. So again, there's an energy system, and that's what we work with EFT. EFT is basically emotional acupuncture or acupressure without the needles. See, what we do is when we tap on certain points within our bodies that govern these energy meridians throughout our bodies. And like I said, I don't want to get into a lot of details, but bottom line is we're going to tap on certain portions of our body, and nothing scary or anything, but just certain points in our body, and most of them are here in the upper body, on the face or the head area, and the upper torso area. So that's where mostly we're going to be doing the tapping, and we tap on these points because they govern certain aspects of the body or the energy system. Gary Craig, the founder of EFT, talks about the discovery statement, and that is the cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the energy system. So a lot of times we might think about, say, depression, and people might say the cause of that is someone dying or some other external event. But what we're saying here is the cause of these negative emotions, be they sadness, if it's going to be depression, if it's going to be happiness, any of these things, they're caused by the energy system. Now, if we're happy, then our energy system is flowing well. If we're healthy, our energy system is flowing well. But if we're sick, if we're in pain, if we have sadness or anger or any of these type of negative emotions, it's because the energy system is disrupted. For example, if you see a car accident and you have two different people experiencing that accident, one might be completely upset, maybe even angry over the situation, while the other person is calm and as cool as ever. That's just the difference in how they interpret things, and more importantly, how their energy system responds to these external stimuli. So what we want to do here is straighten out our energy systems, and that's what EFT is all about. This next section, I wanted to talk about the Z. Now, that can be spelled ZZZTT or a lot of variations like that. And when we talk about the Z, what we're talking about is that disruption in our energy system. Take, for example, this television set here in the background here. If I take this screwdriver and I reach behind here and kind of mess it up, and I stick it in the back of all of the electronics, I kind of jiggle it around, and I create a disruption in that energy system, you're going to get a zzz in that television set. So you may get sound but no video, or video no sound, or the video might have a lot of lines or a lot of snow or something like that. And that that's what happens with our body. We get this zzz in us when the energy system is disrupted. Now, the disruption could be a small screwdriver like this, or it could be a larger screwdriver like this. So it just depends upon the kind of zzz that we get, the degree with which we feel it, depends upon the upset that we have, how much fear, how much anger, how much sadness. And those are the things that we have to look for. What we do with EFT is it allows us, it gives us a tool that allows us to straighten out that energy system, to either calm down or totally eliminate the zzz. That's what EFT can do for us. What I'd like you to do is take a look at this chart. As you can see on the chart, under step 1 we have a distressing memory. Now that distressing memory is based upon the writings on the wall, and we'll talk about that in a moment here. But that distressing memory creates a disruption in the body's energy system because we perceive it as distressing. So when our energy system within our body has that disruption, it then creates that negative emotion, be it sadness, anger, etc. So when we have a happy emotion, we don't have a disruption in the energy system. The energy system is flowing well. When we're healthy, the energy system is flowing well. When we're happy or we're excited or we're on purpose, the energy system is flowing well. When we're unhealthy, we have illness or disease. When we have unhappiness, when we're sad, when we're angry, any of these kind of negative emotions, then the energy system is not flowing well. And what EFT can do is basically take that zzz and, as I said before, either calm it down quite a bit or eliminate it completely, so that when we have that memory, it's no longer distressing and we don't have a negative association with it any longer. Now, the final segment of the introduction here to EFT involves our guidance system. Because you're probably looking at me going, okay, that's fine, it makes me feel better, you know, I don't have as many upsets, I'm maybe more peaceful, maybe happier, more content. Maybe I am achieving things a little easier. Maybe I have less pain, less illness. But ultimately, what does it do for me? And what I wanted to talk about was the guidance system. I'm going to share with you a little special drawing that I put together for you. And as you can see on this drawing, in the horizon there are your desires. Let me call it your purpose, what you ought to do in life. Because ultimately, freedom, see, a lot of people talk about freedom as being able to do whatever I want to do. But if everybody really did what they wanted to do without really a thought of what they ought to do, we'd probably have a lot of issues. So freedom to me is being able to do what we ought to do, what our purpose is, what we're built for. If I wanted to be a NBA player, at my age, I'm about 6 feet. It's not too short, but for that group, it's pretty short. And being at this skill level and at this age, which I'll share with you is the late 40s, by the time you get this, it's probably not the prime person. So if I have a desire, I'm going to play in that league no matter what. That's not really a good purpose. Yeah, I have the freedom to attempt that, but is that really my purpose, what I ought to be doing? What was I truly put here for, built for, etc.? And if I don't even go to a spiritual aspect and just look at what are my skills, what are my talents, what was I built for? What comes easiest? What's most effortless? What do I have the love for? Those are the kind of things when I talk about what we ought to do. So putting all that aside and going back to our diagram, as we look at that diagram, my belief is whatever those desires are, as long as they are in line of what we ought to do, what we truly have a love for, there is a straight and narrow path that leads there that doesn't have a lot of effort. And I don't mean it doesn't have work or action. I just mean it's effortless action, effortless work. The kind of work that you can do for 16 hours a day and not feel like you did work. So there is a straight and narrow path there that we can follow. You've probably felt it before from time to time. You've felt that straight and narrow when you're in a zone or you've got that gut feeling that it just feels right. That's what I'm talking about when I say on the straight and narrow, doing what we ought to do. So on that road, as we go back to that diagram, there's a lot of P's there. Those are positive emotions. Those are the emotions that tell us, hey, I'm on purpose. These things are going well. But the thing is, as you can see off of the road there, off onto the orange or the reddish area, there's some N's or negative emotions. And those are the things that tell you, hey, you're not on purpose. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Have you ever ignored those kind of feelings? Have you ever ignored those kind of signals? And the thing is, the further we go off our path, the stronger sometimes those signals get. The more negative it can be, the more painful. So if we're truly in tune and we don't have all of these barriers, if we don't have these upsets in life, then we can pay attention more to the positives and negatives, because in reality they're all there for a purpose. The positives and negatives, they're all good, and they're there to give us a signal. Are we on purpose? Are we on our path that we ought to be doing or not? And when we are more clear of the writings on the wall, of our past writings, then we're going to be able to be more in the present and understand what we ought to be doing, and there'll be more joy, more peace, more happiness. That's what EFT can do for you, is it can clear out those barriers in those aspects. Okay, a real quick final segment regarding writings on the wall. I wanted to mention that because we talk about it quite often in our conversations. The writings on the wall are the things within our own mind that have been there. They may have been there for just a couple of years, couple months, could be there for 20, 30, 40 years, depending on how old you are. Those writings were put there by parents, by friends, by teachers, by the media, including television, what we read in the newspapers, etc. Those writings many times are not our writings. The objective of EFT is to erase the writings on the wall that were put there by others and allow us to write on the writings on our own minds, to write our own writings, so that we can live with our own purpose, do what we ought to do, and not necessarily just do what other people tell us we ought to be doing. So EFT can clear up some of those writings. It can clear up the emotions that drive us, and in particular, clear up the emotions that drive us toward things that are not in our best interests, that are not in the best interest of what our purpose is in life. And that's what EFT is about. It's about making life more purposeful, less painful, happier, and allow us to experience the kind of life that we're meant to experience. That's my hope for you, and that's my hope for myself and for everyone else out there. So let's spread the word on this tool. Allow people to find out for themselves what it can do for them. And that's what I encourage you to do, is really immerse yourself. And you can do that through the DVDs, through Gary Craig's site, or through livefreewitheft.com. You can look through there. Search for workshops in the area to work with someone personally, either in a private session or in a group session, to get some more insights on how it can be used in a more advantageous way for yourself. On this website, sign up as well for the EFT zine, so that you can get some continuous videos and other tips on how this tool can help you realize more peace and more happiness in life. And again, I wish all of those for you, as well as for myself and for everyone out there. I hope to see you or talk to you soon and help you on this journey as best that I can. Take care and keep tapping.